tonight. An Ellsworth man shot by police last week made his first court appearance today. 68-year-old Jeffrey Payne is charged with attempted murder, reckless conduct with a firearm, and criminal threatening with a dangerous weapon. Payne's being held on $100,000 bail. Ellsworth police responding to a harassment complaint Friday night at Payne's apartment complex. While on the way, they say they learned Payne had a warrant for his arrest for failure to stop for an officer. Police say there was an altercation with officers when they arrived, and Payne was shot in the arm. After being released from the hospital, Payne was taken to Hancock County Jail. During today's court appearance, the district attorney went into more detail about that Friday night incident.
He resisted throughout the process, which led to this. Even after he was shot by one of the police officers, he continued to not cooperate and was tased before he came into compliance.
Payne set to be back in court in February. The officer who shot Payne was placed on administrative leave, as is standard protocol in deadly force incidents. The Attorney General's office is now reviewing the case.